Hi everybody, this is Anthony O'Flynn coming to you live from Sunshine Coast here in Australia. I am doing a solstice update today. So this Saturday on the 22nd of December at 9:24 Queensland time will be the summer solstice. Of course, this will be the winter solstice for the Northern Hemisphere. So we are at this key auspicious moment, this really wonderful time to meditate, gain some clarity and contemplate. So today I'm doing a live, Facebook Live, to give you an energy update of that. I'm also doing a YouTube live simultaneously, first YouTube live. So I don't know how this is going to work, and welcome if you're watching. So I have some good news to share with you of my perceptions of where we are in terms of the paradigm shift, the awakening and the embodiment of this energy that is really starting to pervade our being now if we're open to receive it. But firstly, the solstice, to address this issue of the solstice. Solstice really is one of the four cardinal points. So we have the two equinoxes and the two solstices making up these four cardinal points, which gives us this integration in the physical world, four being the number of spokes of Muladhara chakra, the root chakra, this chakra related with the earth. So the meaning of the word solstice, from Latin sol meaning sun, sistere meaning to stand still, which is in essence this idea of this cardinal point, this ability to change track, to change something in the destiny, to create a certain transformation or a shift in this way, and also the appearance of the sun standing still at its zenith here in the southern hemisphere, which will be Saturday morning. This is of course in the appearance only, but it has a significance because of this connection to stillness itself, which is essential for the shift, because we're really starting to now get into a place where things are going to be starting to become more and more tangible, particularly moving into the next decade. I would suggest, to use a colloquial term, we're still in pre-season in terms of where we are as far as the real paradigm shift occurring, but there's a lot occurring in the subtle reality, which is producing positive effects, which for many are not really appearing to manifest yet, but that's going to be the last realm that changes, the last plane that changes will be the physical world. So there's a lot of good news for me to share with you, but just be aware that the solstice is a key moment to meditate, to create that stillness, to create that pure presence, to simply in some ways disengage from the mind, or to transcend the mind, or to understand the role and true function of the mind as not being the essence of our being, of being a tool if used wisely, or a slave if used unwisely. So that is really something I'd like to share with you today, is use the solstice as a chance to take some time out, some self-care, to create genuine stillness in your life. If you have these techniques, if you know various esoteric methods to create this genuine feeling of true stillness, not just calming of the mind, not just a sort of slowing of the mind, but a deeper quality, a refinement of the mind itself, due to the connection with our essence, the pure awareness, the eternal aspect of our being. So this solstice brings with it this energetic update, or this energetic forecast. Particularly, I'd like to start with a review of what's been happening. Some very powerful waves of energy have been coming in. I know other people like to forecast exact dates and gateways and so on. That's not really in my nature, at least yet. But at least to say that I don't really feel that this solstice will be some magic pill, in the sense that this is a key auspicious moment. The energy actually started coming through last night of a higher frequency, but I don't feel that this will be the end of the shift or the beginning of the shift. It's another pivotal moment for us to take advantage of, and we must make efforts if we're able to embody this energy properly. So this energy that's coming through, particularly in the last few weeks, has been of a very high frequency, and it's occurring, at least from my understanding or my perception, in the astral in the evening, and it is occurring particularly at the level of the heart, of Anahata chakra, and also Vishuddha chakra, the throat chakra, which these two chakras are essential for the connection to the wave, the event, the ascension, the upgrade, the awakening, whatever name you want to give to it, and this ability for us to integrate this energy, which is really the key aspect here, because part of this forecast I wanted to highlight that we're moving away gradually from a time of intellectual speculation, intellectual understanding of what the shift is, and we are starting to connect now more of a time where we need to embody this energy, where we need to actually integrate this energy more concretely. And this is really moving away from this rational, coherent, analytical way of perceiving things and really embodying it or living it. And this is really the journey ahead for all of us. But what I have started to perceive is that the vibration of this energy is coming stronger, more powerful, and really is opening up the astral body and going into the mental body, particularly at night during sleep. So it's important to create a kind of good sleep patterns, healthy sleep patterns, and be open to receive this energy when we do go to sleep at night, because the universe is trying to help us through this shift, but unfortunately, because so many of us are locked in inner turmoil and self-sabotage patterns, we're actually getting in our own way. And that's often why the energy is coming through at night, because the conscious mind is not present in this way. It's a subconscious mind, and we are able to be in a state of physical stillness, obviously by sleeping, but also mental stillness. And there are a lot of processes going on that are enabling us to receive this energy. And I think that a lot of people really need to get out of their own way in terms of thinking that they're not worthy of receiving this unconditional love that's coming through the heart, and thinking that they can't because of things that they've done in the past or limitations that they feel that they have, because this is really our true birthright, it's our true essence. And it's really important to create a mindset that we are open to receive this energy, that we are worthy of this energy, because I really feel that this lack of self-worth is showing up more and more as part of the highlighting or exposing of the shadow, both individually and collectively, and seeing how destructive we are for our own well-being and our own spiritual evolution and our own growth. And this is going to be a theme that's really going to develop going forwards, because we're actually approaching the point in the awakening community, and I'm specifically referring to the New Age community now, that we are about to start addressing our evolution and or lack of evolution in a more mature way. And I think there's also a tendency at the same time to have this self-absorbed attitude to evolution, where it's my ascension, my awakening and so on, without really being of service to others, without really contributing to the greater good or contributing to the collective. And I feel that this will be one of the big topics going forward, is how can I really live this frequency from the heart? How can I be of service? How can I, what can I do? Where can I be of assistance? What are my skills? And this is a real manifestation of the heart, because it's, instead of this contracted place of the ego constantly wanting to give, wanting to receive and get, what can I get, and so on, to the opposite shift to what can I give, and without an agenda, without wanting anything in return, because that's what true giving really is. And that's really where our point of growth is for all of us. And it really means getting out of our comfort zone, and that is going to be one of the key themes going forward, is a more mature conversation for the New Age movement as to, let's forget about all this, talk of guides and rainbow clouds and, magic pill and spiritual bypassing and all the other themes that really hamper genuine growth and genuine transformation. And let's start to consider things from a more mature perspective of what are my limitations? What are my blocks? What is my perception of my shadow? How can I integrate my shadow into my being? How can I amplify my light? How can I start to make rapid shifts, rapid changes? Because although this expression, a rising tide lifts all boats, is really apt to where we're going collectively, the real question is, how much will those boats lift? Because this is the lazy attitude, or this chosen one attitude, which is also going to become more and more redundant and more of a limitation and a form of spiritual bypassing. That I'm a chosen one because I know about the event, I know about the ascension, I think I know what star system I'm from, even though there's no real rational, coherent way of perceiving that. And really getting more in touch with our heart's desire, where we're at genuinely, and who we really are, and the direction we need to go, which is going to be quite a difficult process in many ways, because it will require quite a leap. And we're all going through this. And this is what I wanted to talk about today, is why this year has been so difficult for people as a form of review, because obviously 2018 has just disappeared. I don't know about you guys, but for me it's just gone so quickly, it's ridiculous. That although there's been a great latitude of our own evolution, and let's be clear on this, every single person on this planet is here to evolve, whether they're aware of it or not, whether it's conscious or subconscious, that's okay. There's been a great latitude that we have been able to still move forward and get results and have increased self-awareness, and make mistakes of some significant ones, so which has been part of the cosmic plan. But now, as I understand it, this energetic funnel is narrowing, and that's why you're seeing so many of these problems that people are having in their personal life, in their career choice, in their fulfillment, in their contentment, in their overall happiness, in their relationships, in their meaning, all these things. It's really quite a challenging time, because the funnel is now narrowing. And this really means that the ability to move outside the parameters of consciousness that the shift really embodies is actually becoming more difficult. Which, what I'm saying now is that if you are not aligned with the higher vibration, it's going to make the shift more and more difficult for you. And it's going to be more and more problematic and more difficult. And this is why, we are having these challenges. And don't get me wrong, it's been a challenging year for me as well. So I'm not impervious to these challenges as well. But what I've noticed in the people I'm coming into contact with, coaching and so on, is that this energetic funnel is now narrowing, which means that we really have to be the best version of ourselves. Now, it's not necessary for us to be enlightened or self-realized or liberated or some very lofty, at times even abstract way of being, but it's very important that we see the error of our ways, to correct our mistakes, and to integrate our shadow, because this is really the way forward for all of us, and to move into the heart, which is becoming easier and easier now. This is actually something, sometimes some mornings I actually wake up and I'm quite surprised at the state that has come overnight, and this is very beautiful. But what's very important is that we're open to receive this form of energy, because still many people are locked in states of hate, turmoil, anger, fear. And this analogy of being like a spacesuit means that really, if you are in like a spacesuit and you are blocking the energy, it can't get through to you and you cannot transform. And by that, I mean the negative emotions, the lower states, is what's blocking people from connecting with these higher vibrations, this higher form of consciousness. So this is really to undo these knots, and to firstly start to perceive yourself for who you really are, without judgment, without any malice or self-hatred to yourself, because as I mentioned earlier, this is really one of the fundamental problems that people are having today, because there's just so much hate all over the place. It's almost justified today. People in person, like tearing other people down, people on the internet, social media, it's kind of becoming an endemic, and people are very unconscious that really they're just projecting more and more hate, and they're amplifying that energy in their being, and that's really not what the shift is. Now, you can do that. You can go and bang your head as much as you want and to live in that state. That's your free will. That's your right to do that as a soul living on this planet, or anywhere for that matter. But it is not in alignment with the higher frequencies of energy, which we all must pass this threshold. I don't know what that threshold actually is. It's not like a cut-off point. It's not here yet. I don't think it will be for some time, actually. But all I can say is, what I can see is this energetic funnel is now starting to narrow, and it really is time for all of us to step up. And the faster that we can align ourselves, and the deeper and the more stable, that doesn't mean perfection, but if we go out of alignment, we need to come back into alignment as quickly as possible, because this is the path. This is what the awakening really is. And so it's my hope that if you're listening to this, that you can see that we are in this time of crisis, this time of social turmoil, which will only at an external level intensify next year going forward, and especially into the next decade. We're at the point now where the shift is starting to gain a deeper momentum at a social level, but that's why it's even more important that we create this inner stability, this inner peace, have our spiritual compass really aligned on what's truly important, because there are so many distractions going on. There's so many values that we have that are not really necessary for the shift. It's really a frequency shift in terms of consciousness. And that means that we are basically required to shift our energetic vibration. And this is mandatory for all of us, and no one will be able to escape this transformation of consciousness. But in this solstice update, what I really wanted to say is that the energy that's coming through now, particularly the shooter and the heart, it was more in the crown previously, and it still is to a degree, but at least the last couple of weeks, it's been much more centered around the heart and the shooter. And this is very, very fast, very, very high vibration. And it shows that although many people are feeling jaded and worn out and a little bit cynical sometimes, the energetic level is the one that needs to change first. And that's the one that really we need to focus on. And if you can't perceive these energies, these subtle energies, and what I'm referring to, it doesn't mean you're not experiencing it. It just means that at this stage you're not connecting with your awareness to the subtle bodies, which can take many years to do. It's part of the process, part of the awakening. But to know that this subtle energy is pouring onto the planet now more and more at a higher degree of a rapid rate, particularly when it gets into Vishuddha. But it's also important to notice that the Vishuddha chakra is very intolerant to impurities. And because it's related with speech, it means that it shuts down very quickly if there are lower states, if there are malicious speech, vindictive speech, and the vibration then just closes. That means that you are not open to vibrate at this level. And this is why it's our responsibility that we must match this vibration, this frequency of awakening, this frequency of the shift. It's not the frequency the other way around. Many people, we must connect with these higher dimensions of reality, not the higher dimensions connect with us. That's our responsibility, and this is sometimes lost in the conversation, that in all of this it requires effort, it requires focus, and it requires a reorientation of our values, that we actually begin to understand everything: lifestyle, diet, making time for meditation, what we're actually listening to in terms of music or on the internet, what we're watching in terms of movies and all these sorts of things, and also our hopes and aspirations. What are they? To be a part of this awakening of humanity, to contribute to it, or simply just go along for the ride and hope everything works out in the end. And we're all going to be, our measure will be evaluated along the way. So this awakening is a rite of passage. It can't be cheated, it can't be faked, it can't be manipulated. It's an energetic vibration, and we must align ourselves with these higher frequencies. So moving forward into 2019, it will be, it's been a roller coaster this year, and I really feel that this will intensify going forward next year, and we will see what the energies will be. My feeling at this point is that it will still continue to be more available to higher frequencies, that it will be a new norm, and people will start to awaken. And my feeling is that many people who, and having no connection to these ideas or concepts or understanding, will start to change, and they'll be looking for answers, and they'll be wanting answers as to what exactly is going on, and in good ways and in short term in bad ways, from the point of view that people will be very confused. There will be a lot of confusion next year, particularly at the level of the social turmoil, that people will wanting to know what's happening with the government, why the government hasn't been serving their interests, why these politicians haven't been serving their interests, why the corporations have not been serving their interests, and all the other institutions that are going to be under continual pressure moving into the next decade. So this will be a period for the collective of confusion, would be the defining word for this year. And it will be quite challenging, because many people who are been on this journey for some time are very aware of the agenda of the elite. They're very aware of the agenda of the awakening, which makes it more easy to understand the finer points, the finer details, the different aspects of it. But some people starting from scratch will really feel that they have been living in a dream, and they really have been living in a matrix, which we all are, and we continue to do. And this will be quite confronting in many ways. So if those people are around you and start coming to you for questions and asking things, then it's important to be compassionate with them, because, you know, we've all been in that place once where we actually believed everything we saw on the TV, or we had a different set of values, which are all being examined now, which are all being reviewed. And this will happen even for people who have been doing classical spirituality as well, will find that this new paradigm, some of the truths and the values and the understanding of this great shift of the ages, that there will be a review of some of the values and ideas of even people who have been doing classical spirituality, which will be part of their own point of growth, their own point of awakening. So, final point to make is also something I want to talk about in detail, like in very great detail, is the process of Vishuddha chakra and breaking free of this space-time continuum, because this really is a key aspect of the paradigm shift. I have to get into a certain state to really talk about that, but to understand that the higher frequencies coming through related with the throat are altering our perception of time, and particularly our perception of linear time. Now, by that I mean that our experience of time is this past, present, future, and we're really starting to move into a state of gradually and chaotically in the beginning of a disconnection from this experience of the linear time frame, which it's a pretty vast topic, and it really starts to dissolve the parameter or the constraint of this kala or this kanchuka in Kashmir Shaivism, in the tantric tradition, of this compressed 3D reality, which is going to be one of the key aspects of the shift, and we will gradually be transitioning into this way of being more. All I'll say for now is that the most powerful way you can do to connect with this is to practice what's called mindfulness, which you may have heard of or not. I prefer the term presence, because it's taking us out of this linear experience of the mind itself, thoughts coming, which is a linear experience, and putting us into a state of timelessness, of the eternal now moment, the eternal now, which helps to connect with this jolting, this feeling of it's like an inertia all of a sudden, that you have been even momentarily disconnected from this turmoil, sorry, not turmoil, this linear time frame, which will have massive ramifications, and this will be one of the more exalted, one of the pinnacle aspects of the shift. I think it's more tangible, it's more real. Many people get excited about contact, about disclosure, about Earth becoming an interstellar planet, all these wonderful things. I think that's very intellectually fascinating myself. However, I do think in terms of one's own personal awakening, that this can be a little bit of mind candy, which means that it actually can be a distraction from the more pressing issues of our soul, from the more needs that where we need to grow, where we need to illuminate our being, how we can shine our light, and how we can really contribute to the real shift in terms of the organic experience here on Earth. And also those other things will take care of themselves. It's like if we take care of the little things, if we do our meditation, if we practice compassion, if we're non-judgmental, if we are helping others, if we're of service, then you can be sure that the cosmic plan will unfold in ways which I don't really think we can truly understand sitting here today. And that will be the beauty of it, that this is the roller coaster ride we signed up for. So I wish all of you a happy solstice. Take some time out over the holidays, enjoy the festive season, have some downtime, rejuvenate, not just physically, but in terms of your soul, in terms of your enthusiasm, your heart, and get ready for a 2019, which I feel will be unpredictable in some things. There will be some aspects of 2019 which will bring us some things, particularly socially, which will be unpredictable. I don't exactly know what they are. They will be energetically unpredictable. They will be socially, politically unpredictable. There will be some revelations coming that will be quite mind-blowing. At some point, it's difficult to pinpoint the time frame. In linear reality, this is an energetic shift, and it doesn't match. This 5D reality of timelessness does not match 3D time frame. And that's why I'm saying that the solstice will be significant, but it won't be, it will bring a harmonious, high frequency energy, but it's not the end of this game. The event is happening now. The event will continue to happen now. It is a time frame. It is an energetic integration, and if it happens too quickly, our energetic bodies just wouldn't be able to cope with this energy. It would be too much. It would be too much energy too quickly. It's not just a mental projection. It's that basically our nadis, the energetic body as it's understood in Tantric Yoga, it needs time to adapt and integrate the energies. And if it happens too quickly, it would actually be dangerous. It would not be good, because this energetic body is real. It's not tangible, it's not physical, but it is still real. So the event is now. It's now. We're not in the window yet. We are not, but we are still embodying these higher frequencies. It's taking us to a higher states, and this will continue. This is a one-way ticket. This is where we're going individually and collectively. So I wish you all the best for your journey. Enjoy the solstice, and I will be speaking to you in 2019. Thanks for watching. If you're watching this, you are the shift.